Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to another game of War of the Ring. This time you will be watching Mestre James and Rex00v square off against each other in the League Championship. And I am joined by PrincePhocs today.
Hello everyone.
So Andre, which round is it, what's on the line, and what does the future hold for the winner of this game?
Yeah, so this is the second phase of the league's playoffs, and I just want to introduce James. James is our league champion from last year. He defends right now his title, and Rex is the finalist of this year's World Championship. So it's a very exciting match. Now, if they win this game, then it means that they are only 3 wins away from the grand final. If they lose this game, then they will be going to the losers bracket, and this means that they will have to win like 8 consecutive games.
8 consecutive games? Wow, okay.
Yes, because every
loss means they are straight out. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. This is very interesting. So Rex00v offered 2 tokens and a ring, right, to play Shadow, but it's worth it apparently because he immediately drew Corsairs of Umbar, which I think is the strategy card you're really hoping for to draw as soon as possible. Wow.
Yeah, Wormtongue is not as bad in the beginning as well.
You think so? I think Wormtongue is probably the worst character card in the deck.
It's not, of course, the best, but if you are getting it, of course, it's better to first.
Okay. Maybe. I don't know. Okay. So I would say the early start is better for 3 people with 2 movement, 2 army musters. That's a pretty good roll. And he also has a Dwarven Ring and 2 tokens. That's pretty big. I'm not sure if it's worth bidding that much for Shadow. What were your thoughts?
I think giving that much to James is too much, I think. But he might thought that James could offer like 2 tokens to get Shadow, and then or like 3. Anyway, I guess he really wanted to play Shadow.
Yeah, so, which makes sense. Yeah, I'm confused too because Rex00v did mention 3 Dwarven Rings, but James took 2 tokens and a ring. I'm not sure what's the situation here. Because if it were 3 rings, like 3 Dwarven Rings, then it should be 3 control markers instead of 2 tokens and a ring, right?
Yeah, he has 2 tokens and 1 Dwarven Ring, which he's not using.
Yeah, they will spot it now because James is using a token. So if Rex00v is not okay with that, he will mention it now. I may have missed them discussing this part.
Yeah, that happened too fast. But before
it seems like it's what they wanted to have. Okay.
Before that, since everybody joined right now, so there is a bingo competition right now. If you want your bingo sheet, please send me a personal message, and I will send a bingo sheet to you. In case you don't know what is a bingo sheet, there is an example in the channel that we have for the discussion for this game. So also feel free to discuss, and we will see, of course, your comments. The channel is the Live League Championship stream discussion. It's like 5 channels below the Looking for a Game. So that's it. There will be also like some small quiz, fun facts about War of the Ring questions, which I will pop up from time to time when the players are thinking. Okay, so let's get back to the game.
Yeah, tricky situation here for Rex. Yeah, okay. I think it makes sense to draw a card. I mean, what are you really going to play? Yes, you mentioned Wormtongue, but I mean, in my experience, it's a waste of a die and a card. I've never seen that card actually do anything.
So
James uses a ring here.
Oh, then it's strange that he did not use the Dwarven Ring, because instead of using...
Well, he didn't know what... Yeah, maybe his plan is to kill off Gandalf and then deny Rex Saruman, but I'm not sure if that's actually worth it. Because I think if Gandalf dies here, you just don't bring in Saruman. And he doesn't die, so you can bring in.
That's true. So, so there is one application where Wormtongue is not as bad. It's if 3 people moves the army from Edoras, right? Then if you walk into the Edoras, you don't trigger. So Rohan
Yeah, okay, but that still means that there's gonna be 5 units in Helm's Deep, right? So it's not, I don't know, you don't really stop anything from Rohan. I mean, okay, I guess no big army will muster an Edoras, but yeah, I don't know. So as James, you probably move a 3rd time now, right? But this is a little risky. It's very likely that you'll be hit now, and if it's a reveal, I don't know. I'm not sure if the ring was the right call here. So hit and reveal or not.
Oof, that would be very painful.
1 and reveal would probably be the best. Right, if you shadow...
Maybe 0 reveal.
Ah, it's a 2, okay, that's unfortunate. For the shadow side. But it's a great start for the 3 people, right? 3 movement on turn 1, and shadow didn't get anything done.
Yes, that's a very good turn for James. 3 movements with...
But he did spend a ring and 1 of his tokens, so it did cost him a couple of...
Yeah, but I think it's
things.
a good trade overall. Okay.
Sure. And now, yeah, Wormtongue gets chucked. Goodbye.
For those who are playing bingo, James laughed, so a player laughed, for example, and you can cross that specific cell.
Which cell?
There is a cell in the bingo sheet that says one of the players laughed.
Wow, nice roll again by James.
Yeah, not the best roll for Rex, I think at least.
Yeah, but it's still early in the game, right? So sometimes we see 3 people sprinting the first 3 turns and then suddenly they stop rolling movement. Or they just get hammered every move with the hunt. We'll see. Yeah. And it's also a pretty good roll for Rex. I mean, you will not get... Well, actually you can get Witch King, right? Because you have a ring.
Yes.
Just don't really have any armies prepared. Well, actually, yeah, you can go after Lorien, I think. Right, so you use 1 army die to move Northumberland to Moria and Dol Guldur to South Indian Vale. Oh, okay, interesting. Not sure I would go for U-line here. I'm not sure I don't know. Seems risky because yeah, James can just move the elves to war, right? So you will face 5 hit points in Woodland Realm. I guess you can pivot to Erebor instead, but that leaves... No, that I don't think you can do that with the elves at war. And if 3 people have scout... Well, okay, you have Swarm of Bats to prevent the scouts, but I don't think James will move character Old Forest Road. He'll just straight up muster an elite. And then if he also has Thranduil's Archers, then Rex has a problem.
Well, he still has to go for the Woodland Realm. If he won't go now, then...
Yeah, I just feel like Lorien would have probably been better. Right, so now if... You will have problems in the dual line, probably. I mean, I don't know, 7 HP against 5 in a siege. That's not what you're looking for. So you probably also need to bring in the Morannon army to Dew. That costs you a lot of time. And might not even be enough.
He might get lucky.
Capture the entirety of the Dew line. So yeah, Witch King makes sense. To Morannon? Well, yeah, it makes sense. You might not want to rush Woodland Realm given your army is this weak.
It's also a shame that so many cards now will be wasted.
Well, he can try and press it down now. If the first round of combat goes well for him, then maybe you can press it down.
Yeah, wow, he added Gandalf there.
To Woodland Realm? Oh wow, then he... yeah, okay, he's just kidding. I mean, it makes sense if he has Thranduil maybe, but even then I wouldn't risk it. If you have Thranduil, then Dew is gonna be really, really tough to crack anyways. You don't need to commit Gandalf to that.
But he would make it like really impossible. However, he has like a Relentless Assault, which is very good against Gandalf.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
not
that's
with
not
that
happening.
army. I mean, that army only has 7 hit points. You're not playing Relentless Assault here. You have to play a Swarm of Bats. Obviously, Return of the Witch King is a much weaker card than the Shadows Moving, so you play that. Because you don't want to play anything that will compromise your own strength, right? I mean, Cruelest Death maybe is also playable, but then you only have one reroll. That's not a lot. Wow! Okay, yeah, if you roll like that, you can go for Woodland Realm.
Yeah, I mentioned that he might just get lucky.
Yeah, you might just get lucky. And you did. I wonder that James didn't play any card though. I feel like, I mean, maybe he didn't have anything. Maybe his hand is Scouts and Charge or something. But that first round is so important.
Yeah, that should give Rex some idea of James' cards actually.
Yeah, it's probably one Scouts in his hand.
If it was Scouts, wouldn't he like move the guy from Karok?
No, A, there's Swarm of Bats to counter that, and B, you already had the Elves to War, so I'd rather have a full Elite in Woodland Realm than maybe have an extra regular in there.
I mean, if he had it, he could set it up from before.
Yeah, but he didn't actually move any armies yet. He used all his H dice just to bring the Elves to War. Which, I don't know if it's the correct call. I mean, Rex certainly punished it here. But I feel like he also got a little lucky. He's contemplating which card to play. I don't know. I might go for Desperate Battle here. I mean, you don't want to be in a situation where you
I could
get
play
too stingy
maybe
and
Swarm of
don't get a
Bats
hit.
because he could have like Heroic Death here easily.
If he had Heroic Death, he would have played it last turn. James has nothing. James doesn't have anything. Otherwise, he would have played. Like if you had a good card to play, you would have played it turn 1, round 1. Yeah, I think Desperate Battle is correct here. Make sure you win this. I mean, you have to discard anyways, so. Yeah, I mean, it's wasted, but I mean, out of the cards in your hand, which ones do you really want to discard? None of them, right? I mean, there's not a single bad card in Rex's hand. I mean, maybe at this point Isildur's Bane, but no.
Yeah, that's what I want to say. So since he took Woodland Realm so easily, yeah.
He didn't even take a single hit, right, from that 5 HP army. Not one hit in 2 rounds of combat. The only hit he took is the downgrade, the press. Okay, Threats and Promises, another useless card, so perfect. No problems discarding here. So I mean, still, I mean, he went for the dual line, but this army is too weak to really threaten the dwarves right now. I mean, it is not too weak if you also add in the rune army, maybe, but it's gonna be close.
He could just wait and commit Easterlings and Southrons to that. So that's something that they could do. But until they figure out, here is the first fun fact question of the day. And the question, which I'm going to post right now anyway, is how many and which are the most faraway territories from Shire? Okay, I'm also going to post that in the appropriate channel. It's the live League Championship stream discussion. And again, if somebody wants a second or a first bingo sheet, just send me a personal message.
Yeah, I didn't get the question exactly, and Strider's asking as well.
What's I'm posting all the questions in the live League Championship stream discussion channel, which is right below the strategy channel. Okay, so how many and which are the most far away territories away from Shire?
The The most far away what?
Territories.
Territories. Ah, okay.
Yes, territories.
Wow, what a interesting roll again from Rex. He's not messing around with those eyes, right? He's only rolling a bare minimum of them and lots of attacks. So the first round was pretty rough for him with the many Palantirs, but round 2 and round 3, he definitely turns up the heat. But I mean, Fellowship is making pretty quick progress as well.
Yeah, it's very fast-paced and interesting.
So I mean,
so far,
but you're so low on masters. I was thinking for sure you're gonna try and take Dolemroth next, right? But you can't actually get it done unless James graciously gives you another ring this turn, which he might. I mean, against one eye, you might consider moving 3 times. Actually, I think as James, how about using one of the Dwarven rings, right?
Yeah, get an extra move. Very nice right now, and you also get rid of that annoying master.
Because yeah, which you really don't want to see.
Yeah, that will become at least a Palantir, or at least a movement.
Well, if it's a Palantir, you're gonna be sad.
It's still better, I guess.
Because, is it better than the master? I don't think so.
I have seen Peter using a lot of times deadful spells on Dale, just for the sake of.
But how does the Palantir help James in that case?
Sorry. You're right. I'm just watching the shadow cards. So
yeah. Having one Palantir as shadow is great. I think it allows for a lot of things you can maybe do. I'm not sure about the dreadful spells. I mean, you only have 2 Nazgul and Woodland Drum right now. With the Witch King.
But we don't know James cards, right? So
yeah. That's why I don't know. But I mean, which card could you have that you really wanted a Palantir for now? I mean, I don't think there's
Mirrors, any. Maybe Mirror of Galadriel. Nice.
But you already have Gandalf. I mean, there's no way you play Mirror of Galadriel here.
You could. You could using a ring get.
Okay, so he's not using a ring. Okay.
Okay, he's not. Wow, that's
So as Rex, though, do you like how much do you think James is gonna give you a ring this turn? I don't know.
I don't know as well, because if he's a ring, wouldn't he play the Dwarven ring right now?
But that ship has sailed. He would have had to do it before the start of the action phase.
Yeah, that's why I'm positive he will not use Elven ring.
Yeah.
Just in case, for those who are not watching, so James has like a Dwarven ring, and the ruling for that is that before the Fellowship phase, you can use the ring and reroll
before the action phase, like after the dice have been rolled.
Yes. Yeah, sorry.
But before you use the first die.
Yes, that's what I want to say. I just said it. You're right. Thanks for the help. So you can use that before you use your first action to change one of your dice, and just in case you roll the same, then you are allowed to re-roll it. So that's what the Dwarven ring does, just in case.
And Rex is indicating with his mouse movement that he's not very happy about his lack of masters. He's been hovering the southern political symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see that, Rex. We are aware of your feelings here. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's not unlikely that James will use an Elven Ring, I think. But if he does, I think it will be his last action. So it doesn't really help that much right now. Because then Rex probably can't make use of it this turn. And I feel like if James uses a ring this turn, then he'll be at 7 movement. And has good chances to make Mordo next turn.
Yeah. What about pushing? So one obvious thing that James will do is to get Gondor at least one step on the path.
Well, maybe not. I'm not sure. Do you really need to worry about Rohan right now?
Gondor. I said.
Yeah. But he just played Riders of Theoden with the one die that I would have used a ring on if I was thinking about using one.
Yeah, I think we agreed that he's not willing to give another ring right now because otherwise he would get the Dwarven ring, right? He would play the Dwarven.
I'm a little surprised. I think if I was 3 people here, I would be very inclined to use a ring because getting 3 movement now means you have a good chance of making Moto next turn, and if you don't use a ring now, you will be at movement 6, so it's almost impossible to make Moto next turn. You would need 4 movement next turn and cannot be revealed more than once.
That's a very good point. But it depends. It depends on his cards. Like if he's positive that he can protect Gondor, because like I think he's going
I
for
think you
Gondor
can just race here at this point. I mean, Gondor, yes, is under some threat, but you can make Minas Tirith at least 6 hit points, right, without even mustering anything. Just move one of the regulars from Osgiliath into Minas Tirith, and that's it. And Dol Amroth, well, okay, Dol Amroth will likely fall. But I mean, I don't know. Like, if you make it to Mordor next turn, then I think you will probably win the race.
Yeah, obviously you will.
And as Shadow, I think if you attack Gondor here, then Dol Amroth might become very tough to take. Oh wow, he has Faramir. That's even better then. So in that case, you really could have pushed the Fellowship hard and not worry about Gondor at all.
Yes, but still now that gave Rex an opportunity to attack Osgiliath without getting Gondor to war, which is something very good. So
yeah, that's true.
I'm not sure about that Riders of Theoden. Like unless he has Guards of the Citadel or something. I don't know. It seems like.
Yeah, but I don't think if you have Theramis Rangers in hand, like I as 3 people would not bother about mustering Gondor at all because I mean, 1 more elite doesn't do that much. It's just 1 extra hit point in a stronghold. I mean, yeah, 1 extra hit point in a stronghold is good, but like you already have Faramir there, so Minas Tirith will be 7 hit points with 2 leadership. It's gonna be a tough nut to crack unless Rex rolls like he did in Wooden Realm. So I wouldn't really worry about, like, if I was 3 people, the 1 stronghold I would want my opponent to attack would be Minas Tirith. So why make it even less enticing, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, I want you to attack my strongest strongholds, and right now that's definitely Minas Tirith. So what's the point in mustering Gondor?
Yeah, the point is that Gondor would be at war if he attacked Osgiliath, and then he can muster immediately in Dol Amroth. Because it's clear, I think even James now can realize that the Corsairs are coming.
No, I don't think he can. Like, Rex has not given that away at all. I mean, moving the guys from Faharat to Umbar is a standard move, right? That doesn't give anything away. And the way he moved is just like you would after that Geoline play. I mean, that's one of the downsides of attacking Woodland Realm this early on, is that Lorien is not going to be a target. And you didn't have musters for Isengard, so where else can you attack, right? You basically have to go to Gondor at this point. So that's where he's going. I don't think that necessarily gives away Corsairs. It's just if he has them, it's very good for him. The chances are not
match, from Moradon, you can also match to Rohan. That's 3 points. Because that way the army Umbar becomes kind of useless. Because if you don't have Corsairs and you attack Minas Tirith, then you kind of give up on Dol Amroth, right?
That's true.
And you would have like this enormous army that he has.
But you can set it up in a way where you don't put Gondor to war this turn, and then next turn maybe 3 people doesn't roll any musters, and that's the turn where you rush from Umbar to Dol Amroth. Like, I don't think Rex puts Minas Tirith under siege this turn. That would be a big mistake as well, because that would give James the opportunity to just muster up in Dol Amroth. Okay, yeah, he's moving Nazgul around, setting up for an attack on Erebor out of Wooden Realm, I guess.
Yeah. Since James did not move Rohan at all. Sorry, Gondor, I mean. Now he's moving the fellowship.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but... he does do the dreadful spells play. That's nice. Yeah, I think doing it this way makes more sense, I guess, than going to Wither Teeth.
That way he also kind of keeps his Swarm of Bad.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I was thinking go to Wither Teeth and then attack Erebor from there, but then your army is pretty weak, right? Just 5 hit points. Yeah.
Great. So that's it for that then. Until they refresh, here is the second question. So the second question, since we discussed it already, the citizenships, the second question is, for how many territories can you actually play citizenships? Okay, and I'm posting it right now. So I'll repeat that. For how many territories can you play citizenships? Okay, now
Quite
let's
a lot of
get
them.
back again. Quite a lot of them, but
I'm very curious to see what the two players will roll. Because I have a feeling that as James, you really wish you were at step 7 instead of at step 6. We'll see. I mean, he might still make it in this turn.
he could. I think it's very unlikely.
Yeah. I think as
I'm
Shadow...
not sure if he should rush as much.
Well, I mean, we know that Rex has Cossas, and that means 3 people will be running out of time very quickly.
Yeah, but there is a good chance that, because James, he should have something either for Minas Tirith or Erebor. I think Minas Tirith would be very hard to crack.
He didn't draw any extra cards. He only drew 4 cards out of his deck, and 2 of them are already gone. Like, one was Riders of Theoden, I don't remember the other one. So he
And
basically 2 out of 22 to have something. It's unlikely. I mean, he could have, but it's not something that I would be sure of.
So don't forget that Rex would have also to take Pelargir, which will be mastered and can create like small problems. But...
Okay, so he has enough to make it if he doesn't get hit at all, or not revealed at all.
Yes, he has. It's worth pointing out that James is threatening with 3 people military. All it takes is a bad roll for Shadow if he commits the Corsairs, right? Because he can get to Dol Guldur and then he could
but that's 2 actions you need. And Rex has a lot of musters now, so he just needs to muster single regular and Dol Guldur and single regular and Umbar.
Yeah. Do you think that he's going to? Do you think he's going for Gondor now or for Erebor?
I don't think you need to rush the dwarves down. I think this is the turn where you want to put Minas Tirith and Dol Amroth under siege. Because what are the dwarves going to do? There's no companion nearby, so you can't really threaten Book of Muzabul. And you know what James is trying to do, right? He wants to move the Fellowship at least twice, maybe even try and make it in this turn, which is why you keep the Palantir, so maybe you can play Nazgul Surge or Isildur's Bane. Because if James gets revealed on one of his first 2 movements, then it's impossible for him to make it in.
Yeah. Let's count though the movements from Shadow. He has only 4 attacks, right?
Well, that's enough. So... you need 2 for Minas Tirith and 1 for Dol Amroth. So you only need 3 attacks.
Yeah, so that's enough. Is that enough to secure also Pelargir?
Why would you need to secure Pelargir? You have a muster left over. You need 1 muster to get the Southlands to war, and then, like, James doesn't have adequate dice to threaten a military victory. If he does so, then he is forfeiting moving the Fellowship. And I
It's
think
not about no, it's not about that. I meant that Pelargir can become annoying just by mastering tons of movement there. Because
sure, yeah, it
he,
can become a little annoying, but I mean, James doesn't even have a straight muster right now, and you have what 18 hit points surrounding Osgiliath, so it's likely to be enough to take over Pelagia at some point. Like if James doesn't have anything for Dolemroth, then the Umbar army will conquer Dolemroth with like, I don't know, 10 hit points left standing. So that's definitely enough to also take Pelagia then.
yeah, it's James though, so I can smell that he has Sidra ships.
Okay, using a ring now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I mean, what's he gonna do with 2 Palantirs? It's an army master, okay.
Wait, but I think can he just he must use it only in the beginning of the.
It is.
This is the.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is the
They were
beginning.
still. Yeah, you're right. It's still well. Okay.
Probably not what he was hoping for, but better than a Palantir probably. But this means I think that he's not making, like, especially if he uses the Palantir now, then yeah, he's not making it to Mordor this turn.
There is some Boromir action.
Boromir and Strider, wow, okay.
Okay.
James feeling the pressure then, okay.
That's what you want to see. Now the game becomes really exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. This is the game that was promised, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
like
I mean, James is pretty good with his Free People military units. I just don't think it's the right time for that. I don't know. Feels like you had a good... Well, okay, maybe not. Like, because you're not getting to Mordor this turn. Actually doesn't feel that good with the race. I would have said, if you are at step 7 here, I think you would feel good about the race. So maybe not.
Also, it's a small waste that he will not heal the corruption.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what he's considering. Maybe he.
But I think if you're on step 6, still in Rivendell, and you still have everyone, but
okay, this is what he wants to play first. He wants to secure Rohan, just to make sure, because he's confident about Minas Tirith.
Oh, 2 hits.
That's the hit. Not bad.
And now he separates. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but like the threat here, I think, is that once you lose the entirety of the dual line and Dolemroth and Pelagia, then Shadow will be at 8 victory points. That's not a very good spot. Like, you want to be on the Mordor track at some step higher than 0 when that happens.
Yeah, it's getting excited. But it seems like he does not care about that. He has a show.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense, because now Shadow needs to be much more careful. He can't just take Dolemroth and Sirith then. But he can take Dolemroth and Erebor. Probably.
Yeah, but that would buy a lot of time for Gondor, because they have so many mastering cards, right?
Yeah. But where do you go with a Gondor army? Like, you can't just leave Minas Tirith when Shadow is at 8 victory points, so you can't really go anywhere if that's the scenario you're facing. Yeah, so either you move, like, as soon as possible, or you just hope that they will be enough to secure Minas Tirith, and that Rohan and the Elven strongholds are fortified enough that Shadow will grind their teeth, not accomplishing anything.
Well, it seems like Minas Tirith is kind of secured, unless he gets as lucky as Nehudan Realm.
I'm not sure about that. You know, there's Caseas coming, then Dol Amroth will fall almost in... Well, actually, okay, there's no Witch King in there, right? So you probably go for the dwarves now and just put it under siege.
Yeah,
I think the correct play is to... I mean, you don't have to rush Dol Amroth now. I think you just move Dale and Eastrune to Iron Hills, and then besiege Erebor, and then try and take it down.
That's what he's going to do most likely, especially because he cannot move the Nazguls, right? He can only do that with Nazgul steps. But
you have the Nazgul leadership where you want it. You have it in the dual line. That's great. I mean, Dol Amroth, as long as Gunnar is not mustering up, then you can wait till next turn or whenever, right? There's no real rush to it.
You also need to consider which cards you're going to play. He has the Shadow Gathers, which is I don't think it's very useful in
That's
when
no,
he's
that's the strongest card you can have for later on in the game. And there's no real use case right now. You don't actually save any dice if you use it to bring Rune to Erebor, and you risk a pretty dangerous field battle. I mean, it's unlikely that James would field battle against the Witch King in Erebor, but if he does and wins, then you're kind of screwed. I think I would just merge in Iron Hills and then besiege Erebor and let Gondor do their things. As long as you don't push them to war, then 3 people has to spend dice doing that. I guess they will just try and move twice. But then the longer you wait putting Gondor to war, the less time the 3 people player has to make the military and ministers do anything. And at that point you basically take 5 points from you, 2 points from Dol Amroth.
It's a very interesting case.
Yeah.
So many options. This is what we want to see. But since they're thinking, here is the third question of the day. And the third question is the following. How many unique ways there are for a companion to be eliminated? Okay, so there was a very famous game like 10 years ago, Dumb's Way to Die. So this is the same question, but for wondering in how many ways can a companion die? Okay, I'm going to post it again.
So, Andre, which faction would you rather be in this situation? Like, it's something that I always ask myself during any of my games at several, intervals through the game. Which side would I rather be as right now?
Well, you see the cards from Shadow, but we don't see the cards from 3 people, right? So
no, we can make assumptions that maybe he has one card for one of the strongholds, and maybe he has like a blue tile or something in hand.
Yeah, if he has like the Dane for Erebor, I think he's sitting in a very comfortable. I would take 3 people if he has Dane. If he doesn't have Dane, now this is.
I think that the odds of him having Dane are pretty low, though.
Yeah.
So given that, I think I'd give the edge to Shadow. But yes,
Yeah,
if he does
that's
have
what I
Dane,
say.
like that's definitely the one card that I would be most afraid of. Wow, he goes for Cassez now. I think that's a mistake. Having everyone in. Because we know he doesn't have anything like Black Captain commands or something, so he can't. Well, he can press it down if he uses Relentless Assault. Ah, but that would be very costly. And could still fail.
Yeah, so to answer your question, so I also think that Shadow has the edge right now, unless 3 people have either Seed and Ships or Dane. If they have either, then I think it's.
I mean, James was just about to, pull the trigger on something using that army muster, and I doubt it was to muster Gondor straight to war, right? So he must have wanted to play a card. Probably he's considering now how big is the risk of Shadow sieging Dol Amroth without leadership. Because if that's what he's afraid of, then yeah, he should do that now. Otherwise, I don't know.
Yeah, I have lost at least 2 games like that because.
Yeah, I have won games like that, but sometimes it doesn't work. I mean, it's 15 dice to get 3 hits if you don't play any card. Just better than a 50-50, I think, but.
But if you're James,
know,
are you risking it?
I think if you have Kid and Ships in hand, then you will play it now.
Yes, you have to play it now, that's what I say.
But maybe you have Imrahil, but I think, yeah, if you have Imrahil, you would also play it now.
Yeah, you you would risk for sure. You would risk only if you're like losing hard and you really need to bait and waste Shadow's dice. But if he has one of these cards, then he's actually winning. So
Yeah, I don't think he has it, otherwise it would be pretty easy to slam it down right now. I mean, the only reason you're waiting is that you might be afraid that they also attack Ministerith this turn, so you want to use the muster die to muster up more in Ministerith, and use the remaining dice to just move the Fellowship along. Unless you're thinking about Strider running away. But I think this, like, after having just crowned him here, you probably don't want to move him out again. I think you just need to hold on to Ministerith here.
yeah, well, he could have Deadman, right?
Yeah, he could have Deadman, but the question is how much does it really do? Like, it's not gonna save Dol Amroth.
He does not have to have Deadman. He can just move it there, and then Shadow must always assume that he has that.
Yeah, but you don't actually, as Shadow, you don't really care about Pelagear, right? You have Rage of the Dunlandings in hand. You will have Dale. You have 4 strongholds in sight. Like, you're going to have Dol Amroth, Erebor, Woodland Realm, and Dale. You can easily take the Shire. So you only need that one last stronghold.
I would really keep Rage of the Dunlandings because it's one of the few cards that can really hit Gandalf. Because don't forget that Gandalf can join. Maybe that's why he played the end card, because he wants to move Gandalf away from there.
I think he played it so he does have Imrail. Okay,
yeah,
then I'm surprised he was thinking for this long. Because I think it's okay if you just move the Fellowship once this turn, and then go for 3 movement next turn. I don't know. But you really want to make more the next turn, yeah.
Yeah, maybe he was thinking what I was saying before, that is it really worth it to bait a card from Shadow to move the Nazgul?
I don't know. I mean, to me it doesn't feel like you need to rush Dol Amroth. Like, now less than before, is already a card has been played, so Dol Amroth might be
right now, no, but if you had like the Ringdress are abroad or the Black Captain commands, wouldn't you immediately now play it to take Dol Amroth?
I still think I would rather take Erebor here than Dol Amroth. Like, I would be more afraid of Dane showing up than I would be of Kidden's ship or Imrahil.
So, assuming that he did
because you have no reinforcements in the dual line,
assuming
right?
That, I'm saying that assuming he did not play Knights of Dol Amroth, Imrahil, I mean.
Yeah.
Too much card game. Assuming that he did not play that, and you had the Ringdress abroad, wouldn't you play to secure Dol Amroth right now?
If he hadn't played it, and I had besieged Dol Amroth already, then yes. However, I wouldn't have attacked Dol Amroth in the first place. I would have gone like he does now. Now he goes for Erebor. I would have done it the other way around. I don't know what you win by attacking Dol Amroth before you go after Erebor. Just gives more information and a free muster for the free people.
Actually, there is something that he could gain from it. Because he did it now, if Frodo moved and could be revealed, then...
yeah.
Sorry,
Then, well, but Strider's gone anyways, right? So...
Yes, I just realized that, so I'm just multitasking because, people are sending messages.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and the other question is, what do you do with the ring now? With a Palantir, sorry. Because I think he used an army die to play Corsairs, not the Palantir, right?
Oh.
I thought you would play it with a Palantir. If you don't have anything else
to
to
be versatile, He might want it to be just versatile.
Yeah, which of the cards do you want to play?
Oof.
I mean, Isildur's Bane is not playable. Nazgul Surge would be terribly inefficient right now. Rage
So
would be too early. You
he
don't want to give your hand away.
He can obviously attack and fish for a different card and then play
Yeah,
it with
sure.
a Palantir.
That's what he can do.
Maybe that's what he's doing. Now maybe he will play now either a Cruel's Death or a Umakil.
Wow, he's playing Mumokil. Interesting. I think I would have gone with Swarm of Bats here. I think you have your armies in place so that the top effect is not that useful anymore. Because you don't have that many armies you want to move simultaneously. And Shadow's Gather is like the most powerful card you can have to reinforce strongholds. Like if you see that Erebor is not getting your way, you can always use the muster here and maybe another muster next turn to get more Southron elites. Wow! But if you roll like this, it's fine. Okay, then it's fine.
Yeah, I would play that card because I don't think he has like armies that will be moved 3. So,
Yeah, you would if any siege does not go your way, right? Imagine Erebor, like, maybe you only score a single hit and take 3, and then next round you score 2 hits and take another 3, then suddenly your army might be too weak to beat dwarves.
Well, keep in mind that having a swarm of bats for the Battle of Minas Tirith, it's also important because he has companions and you can
Right,
get
that's
like
true.
very powerful cards.
That is true.
So and if he moves now, he can separate a hobbit there, can he? Let me count. 1, 2, 3.
Probably.
No, he can't. No, he can't. He can't.
Wow, that's a big fight, though. The fact that Erebor just rolled over like this. There's no Dane in sight. That's massive. So now Shadow's massively favored, in my opinion. And I think now you can even think about using Nazgul Surge to get leadership into Dolemroth.
You could do that, yeah.
And I think with the muster, I would muster an Isengard elite into North Dunland.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing he can do. Maybe but as the last action, because of the military, 3 people military victory.
Yeah. I would definitely keep the muster for last.
So what are you playing now as Palantir? Nazgul Search?
Probably Nazgul Surge. Yeah, it's gonna be wasted, but you still get to move the Nazgul to Dolemroth, where you want them. Yeah. You don't get the reveal, but I think now as Shadow you feel good about the time. You know Fellowship cannot make it to Mordor this turn, so the earliest they can make it is next turn. And I mean, you might actually win the game next turn. It's unlikely, but it's possible.
You don't even have to go to Minas Tirith right now. You can
No,
just
I would not. No, I'm not thinking about Minas Tirith if I'm Shadow at this point. Like, I'm thinking about it, but it's very low on my list. I think I'd rather move the North Sicilian army to Lorien.
Yeah, Lorien
rather than attack Minas Tirith. Okay, he shows up defenses. I'm not sure you need to do that because you're already at basically 7 victory points. So if 3 people try military stuff, you will get to 10 victory points before they can score 4.
Well, if he would not play it, then James would secure for sure Amber.
Yeah, then let him secure Amber. With what army? Like with a regular what? That doesn't even do anything.
Yeah, with regular, yes.
I wouldn't be scared of that. You're at 7 victory points as 3 people. As Shadow. Let him have 2. That means he's not making more this turn. Ooh, scary roll for the 3 people. We know there's no Day Without Dawn, so all good. But I would be very scared. Yeah. Wow, finally a hit. And the reveal.
There's the reveal, yeah.
Doesn't really change much. I think you'd, take a random here, no? Fellowship is healthy, you want to get down to Golem as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm. And if it's a Hobbit, where would you add it?
Probably Minas Tirith. Maybe Lorien, I don't know. Oh, it's not a Hobbit. Bad.
Okay, he's passing through Moria.
Yeah, painful. And suddenly,
I don't think he cares. Maybe that's actually the best thing that he could.
yeah, I mean it gets you down to Golem faster than anything
Yes,
else you
that's
could have
what you
done.
want. Yes. I don't think you care about corruption right now.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
So he needs to stay alive this turn and next turn. So he has 3 turns.
Yeah, he needs to
At
stay
least.
alive two turns basically. Got it? What's he afraid of? Mogul Wound? No, or what? Ah, no, Day Without Dawn, right. Yeah, we know he doesn't have it.
That's a shame. Or not a shame. I think it's better that he does not have it for
Yeah,
our perspective.
otherwise this game would be over, I think. If you remove 3
Yeah.
dice with it on such a crucial turn, then that's just game.
Yeah. Okay, until they resolve it, here is the next question, which is, what is the maximum number of hits that can happen during a single combat for both sides? So the total amount of that. Okay, so the maximum number of hits that can happen during a single combat. Now let's get back to the game.
So yeah, he attacks the Lamroth now, giving up basically on Ministereth. Makes sense, I think. Yeah, I think, like Rex was saying, that he had hoped that James would change one of his Wills of the West to character die with the ring. But I think at this point, like if you roll 4 Wills of the West, then you just gotta hope that Shadow doesn't have it. And if
Yeah,
they do,
even if
then
you,
it's the game. Like even if you lose 2 Wills, it's still too much, I think.
yes, that's what I want to say. He would lose anyway, so you just hope. Cross your fingers and
Strider's asking about your question, do you mean for one side? But you mean in total,
or
right?
both
Total
sides.
hits
Yes,
combined.
in total. So 2 armies collide,
Both play cards.
both played cards. What is the maximum amount of hit that can happen?
Very high.
Very high, very high.
So yeah, now you take the Lamroth before hidden ships can show up. And then
Yeah,
you're
that
at
would be
7
the best
victory
way, of
points.
course.
So what's the final stronghold in City? I think City, you go for the Shire, but what's the final stronghold? I think Lorien.
Yeah, I also think Lorien because it's the one that can be. It's the most far away from everything. So if he goes for it, he can also master if something happens in Moria. There are also the mastering cards for Shadow that are not played, like Shadows of the Misty Mountains, which he will be getting eventually.
And the other good thing about moving to Lorien is
And
that
Bloodlock.
if Free People musters up a bunch on Lorien, then Elven Force Pool will be weak, and so you can pivot away from Lorien and either into Helm's Deep or into Rivendell. Oh, the first bad round of combat for Rex. Deadly Strife only scoring 2 hits, but it's against a very weak Golemroth army. What's the reroll? Oh, Valor was played. Wow, hitting on 2s.
And he played Eomer.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think Rohan is well enough
Safe, yes.
defended. I
I
mean,
also think
there's
so.
nothing going on in Orthing that you need to be worried about.
Indeed.
I seal the Spain here, okay. Wow, getting a 3. And suddenly corruption is an issue. Especially if you get hit again, moving into Modo.
There are so many tiles that are so low and such high
Well, that's
possibility
true,
to get
yeah,
into
it's
ones.
only like
So
the 4th tile I think that was drawn. Or even the 3rd.
So with James, what are you doing with this Will of the West? Is the question.
I think you wait and see what the Shadow is doing. I think if they attack Ministerith, you feel comfortable, or you have to feel comfortable that Gonna's going to hold. Interesting, he uses a will now instead of the character. So do you play around Cruel Weather here? Do you think, screw it, he doesn't have it? I mean, looking at it, he's only drawn 5 character cards. So I think I would not move around Cruel Weather here.
It depends what he can, how much impact the extra Will of the West can give him.
I think I would start to worry about corruption as well. You're already up to effective 2, which is kind of the line I wouldn't love crossing if I am 3 people.
Eh,
I mean, you can, but it's
corruption is the least of his problems, I think.
probably, yeah.
Oh.
4 hits,
Oof.
that's enough. And 2 hits back, so Dol Amroth is gone.
Yeah, everything points out that Shadow is getting this.
I'm not sure, actually. I mean, the final stronghold is the one that's the most bothersome.
He has the Relentless Assault. This is what. So
Yeah.
Gandalf will not be like super useful, I think.
Well, he can still be very useful. I mean, Relentless
Yeah,
Assault
he
into
will.
Daylight or something is still painful, or even into Shield Wall, or advantageous
Yeah,
position.
that's true. He didn't play any Daylights. He played only Theoden.
Only Theoden, yeah. He still has to.
So Shadow now has to decide what to do, where to go.
Yeah. And also, what use do you have for your Master Die? Because part of me feels like, I don't know. Well, actually, you might not want to rush the Shire, because if you take it, you put the North to war, and then they might muster 1 or 2 elites in Carrick and threaten Woodland Realm, so you would need to shuffle armies to Woodland Realm again.
I would just add an elite in northern or south Dunland, and just
Yeah, I think
how
I
it
would do the
goes,
same.
and like go for a Lorien, because that's also killing Gandalf, right? The leadership from Nazgûl, from the elite. Sorry.
Yes, leadership from an elite would go through Gandalf's ability. Well, actually, yeah, that's true. You can just threaten the 4 cities, which will probably force Aragorn's hand trying to reclaim Pelargir, which will leave Mystirith pretty open. How many more attacks? So you can muster up an elite, then maybe play Rage of the Dunlandings this turn, and then attack Pelargir. So you'll go into Mordor on 8 victory points, needing only 3 army dice.
Well, it's just important that he will not play his Palantir of Orthanc, because this is saying that he does not have cruel weather.
Well, yeah, but I don't really think as 3 people, I don't think you play around Cruel Weather here.
It depends what you can do with this Will of the West. Can you really do something impactful? The only thing that I can see is like an elite in Lorien. maybe something aggressive with 3 people army, like moving to
Wow,
north.
he moves again. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's pretty likely that he'll be hit now. And imagine a zero reveal would be painful while here.
Yes. Wow.
Zero reveal.
No.
Call it.
What have you done?
Oof. Yeah, and James goes like, what? So close to Gollum, and then he gets wrecked by the zero reveal. So that probably means that he's not going to be able to dunk in 2 turns in auto. Well, maybe he will be, but
Well, now at least he can use his Will of the West very effectively, hiding the
I don't
fellowship.
know if it's very effectively, because it means he's going to be very slow. Interesting thing. I don't know. I think I would have attacked Pelagay first. But yeah, I guess this threatens a direct attack on Ministerus before anything is mustered. Yeah, and James reacts to it for fear of Black Captain or Ring Race. So you cannot hide with that will anymore. That's painful.
I don't know. I feel like James would not. It's not good if he goes to Minas Tirith. Like you said, he wants the Minas Tirith to be attacked.
Yeah, but
This is
only
his
if you
best
have the
chance.
second elite in here. Not if you only have 5 hit points in Minas Tirith. And he only had 3 regulars and 1 elite.
He can hope that he can draw something. I think this is his best chance. I mean, like right now, he's losing hard, so he needs.
I mean,
He needs
not
to find
that
the.
hard. He can dunk in 2 turns. So in theory, Rex might get screwed if he doesn't roll enough attacks. And something like Power of Tambambadil can really mess with him.
I'm
I
not
mean,
sure
he does
he's
have
going
the
to.
cards
He's
discarded,
not
but...
going for Shire. He's not going for Shire. He's going for Pelargir. So.
Oh, but then he needs 2 strongholds.
Yeah,
No,
he's strong.
one more stronghold, right? Which is the other one then? Like if the Druiden Forest army goes to Lorien, I don't know, I think you go for the 4 cities here. North and Rohan both not at war.
Yeah, that's why he should not waste the army moving to Minas Tirith right now.
Yeah. Well, he's not
If
wasting it. He needs to cross Minas Tirith. Like he's going to Druiden so that he can reach Edoras in 2 turns. Oh well, in 2 movement actions.
I would hide right now. I think. What did he do? Elite?
He mustered an elite instead of moving the army from Osgiliath.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Rex. This is all the same for you. Doesn't change anything.
Well, it changes because now he's revealed, and Rex can draw a red tile and add it immediately before Frodo moves.
Oh, Hill Trolls, interesting. Huh, that's surprising.
There comes a blue tile. Mithril Coat, yeah. That.
Yeah, he does muster the... Interesting that he didn't go for Rage of the Dunlandings this turn. Because Hill Trolls, I feel like you don't need Hill Trolls if you just want to catch some cities. So this suggests that he might try and go for Minas Tirith after all. Very interesting.
Maybe it's just a bait.
Yeah, but it's a bait that costs you 1 action. But he got enough attacks. Yeah, I think it should still work out. And you have shadows moving, which is great for this scenario. Funny enough that James could theoretically dunk this turn if he dodges, reveals, and has... There's another way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's highly unlikely.
He might. Mm-hmm.
And
Yes,
Rex with Rage at the Dunlandings, Shadows moving, threatens a win this turn. Just go for the 3 cities.
Okay, until they figure it out, here is the next question. So Gollum is the guide, and there are 0 eyes in the hand pool. How many ways there are for the fellowship to be revealed? So instead of 1 eye that there is right now in the hand pool, imagine there are 0 eyes. But fellowship can still be revealed. And how many ways there are for that? That's the next question.
Well, I think as James, you're in pretty deep trouble now. I mean, as 3 people, I definitely worry about my cities the most right now. So you can retake Pelagia, right? If Druidan army moves to Edoras, then Minister's army can threaten Pelagia. But you have to leave enough back in Ministerith so that Ministerith doesn't become the new target.
Yes, he kind of has to do it now, right? He has to find a way.
Now, I think now is a little too early, right? You want that Druidan army moving to Fold before you move out of Ministerith. And then if you move west of it to Edoras, then suddenly Helm's Deep looks like it might be approachable. It's a little tricky.
Well, as Shadow, you really need to win now, right? Because then so many movements for 3 people and...
Well, it depends. If, like, Fellowship hides, and then you need 2 dice to move Aragorn to Pelagia, right? So you might just get a single move, maybe 2 moves off.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have 2 rings, so you can use one now and one next turn, but then giving a ring this turn is also very dangerous because that might really give Rex what he needs to finish this turn.
Yeah, they really need to count. This might take a while.
Yeah, this is, like, I think the most intense turn we've had.
Yeah, that roll worked out very well for James. I mean, 3 Palantirs.
I don't know, I think this was the turn where you hope that Shadow rolls like 3 eyes and 5 musters and no attacks or something. Like, sometimes that happens.
Well, he has still only 5, right?
He has 5 attacks, yeah. But you have the fear of Black Captain and Ringray still to worry about.
Yeah, he definitely can do it.
And I mean, we know that he has Rage of the Dunlandings and Shadow is moving. So he can make use of 2 of the 3 Palantirs very well. And then, if you save a Palantir for your last die, there's a chance that James gives you a ring this turn. So you will have 6 attacks. So you can probably make use of all your dice here.
What would you do now, right now, as James?
As James, yeah, I don't know. I think I would hide once. Like, if you're not even hiding on a turn like this, where you roll 4 characters and Will of the West, then what even is the point in continuing playing? I would start by hiding, and then
when
see
you're giving up on Pelargir so badly.
No, I'm not giving up on Pelagia. I can always take it back later on.
Can you?
Well, I mean, what would you do now? If you use the will for a double army move, then you risk the Druidan army attacking Ministerith right now, so you can't... I don't think you can move anyone out of Ministerith right now.
Not from Ministerith, from Osgiliath.
Yeah, you can move Osgiliath to Pelagia, but that's likely not enough to hold Pelagia, because there's so many
He can get lucky. He never played Confusion. And
he can get lucky, that's true. Can get lucky.
You don't need as much luck even for that to happen, because you would have like 4. It's the same hit points, but Pelargir you hit on 6 the first turn as Witch King, right? And
that's
if something goes badly, then...
But you're afraid of Dread and Despair, where that's not even a real advantage for you, because the first turn you're not hitting anything either, unless you get lucky with Confusion. Then you only roll 4 dice against. Well, actually, okay, you have 1 leadership, so you roll 5 dice to 10 of the Witch King. It's unlikely, I think, if Shadow has Dread and Despair, and we know Shadow has Dread and Despair. They also have Swarm of Bats, though I would be reluctant to play it here, I think. Because a Shadow, I think I would start out with Rage of the Dunlendings into Cardolan, and then with my next action play, Shadow is moving to get South Athelion to West Toronto, get Druiden Forest to Fold, and Cardolan to South Erdlune. And probably also move the regular from Dol Amroth together with the Witch King, so you have better shots at taking and holding Pelagia.
Very tricky, very tricky.
Yeah, Edoras Shire Pelagia is what I would be aiming for as Shadow. And is what I would be most afraid of as free people. There is, like, I'm not saying there's no other line, right? Lorien is still a possibility, especially with a role like this. Helm's Deep is a possibility. Like, if you move to Fold, or maybe even Eastern. But I don't think...
If you also go for Lorien, then you kind of force him to play the Will of the West there.
Yeah, you force him to use the Will of the West to muster an elite. But it also... And you do have a 12 hit point army with, like, that's 3 dice to get to Lorien, well, 1 to move the leadership around. You would only have a single attack, though. Well, actually, okay, you can use Shadows Moving, save some time. And, well, actually, that might be
think
better.
you need to keep Shadows moving because of the
How to grade.
grade.
Yeah, that's true. That's tough. I mean, James should have had to top deck it, though. He had 0 cards last turn. So maybe you take that risk?
I don't know, it's 1 out of 18.
Do
you want to take any risk if you don't have to?
Well, you don't want to take any risks, but you also want to maximize your opportunity to win this turn. And that might mean take some risks where they are necessary to increase your odds. Like, you don't want to be 1 die short because you played around something and kept Shadows moving only to realize that they didn't have it, and now one of your Palantirs is bricked and you can't use it for anything. And so you're 1 die short. Wow, he's using a will now. Okay.
The moment of truth.
Interesting that he... Oh, maybe because he's afraid of Day Without Dawn. So he moves Aragorn to Osgiliath, inviting an attack onto Minas Tirith. Wow, okay. That seems dangerous. Like, even if you have help unlooked for...
Well, actually, this is a super good play, because even if he attacks Minas Tirith, then he attacks from Osgiliath, and he completely destroys that army, because it has only 1 leadership.
Unless you have Ringwraiths are abroad.
Yeah. But then he would need to use Ringwraiths are abroad right now to get to Minas Tirith.
Threatening a military victory here.
I'm not sure how much he's threatening, because if he goes for it, then, you know, he will lose because shadow military.
Yeah, not if Aragorn can stop the forces from Druiden Forest.
Okay, I'm not sure about the regular in North Dunlan, in North Athelion. I'm not sure he has a lot of uses, but we also need to consider.
Well, he does have some uses because he threatens military victory. So I don't know how serious that threat is.
I think it's not serious at all, but I think it's a headache for.
Yeah, it is a headache for Shadow.
That's the thing.
Because you don't really want to use one of your armies not attacking just to move defensively, so you might just take the risk. Yeah, and the risk is very small because if he uses Day Without Dawn right now, through Day and the Night right now, if he has it, then he can get to Gorgoroth, but Minas Morgul will be open, so the army from South Ithilien can just retake it. If you only move from North Ithilien to Minas Morgul, then you can react
He's
to
not
Shadow.
going for military. He's not going for military.
Yeah, I
because,
think he's not.
He will just lose Minas Tirith and that's over. So it's just to make Rex lose his mind and double doubt everything. I think that's why he's doing it.
Wow, he plays Palantir of War, I think. This late into the game, huh?
Well, it's also now he's throwing the same ball to James.
No, he's not. At this point, as 3 people, I'm happy that he plays it on the table. Like, this is too late. The game is likely going to be decided this turn.
Yeah.
You get 2 more draws out of it, but you lose a card and a die to play it. I would let it sit as 3 people. No way I'll give you a ring for that. But I can maybe win next turn.
It's interesting that James really wants to play something because he can just pass.
Yeah, he might just pass. Like, so far, Shadow hasn't really done anything, so you can chill.
And since we are in the matter, now the next question is how many cards there are for 3 people that they can move companions with or without armies? And the same question for Nazgul. Okay, so I'm repeating. How many cards can move companions with or without armies? And how many cards can move Nazguls with or without armies? So I'm also adding it in the appropriate chat.
Still think hiding ones would be something that I would be looking forward to doing, especially now that Palantir hit the board. Interesting.
Well, it made James thinking, so it is working.
Well, I think James would have had to think regardless of the play that Rex does, because it's a very tough turn. Like, you want to put yourself in a position where you can win next turn, but also you need to make sure you actually get to see next turn. Might actually draw a strategy card. No?
Let's see. The last battle.
House of the Stewards.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, but is it even playable?
It's not playable because Osgiliath is
it's not in Gondor. I don't, yeah.
Did they figure it out?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, let's message them.
Yeah. Can you message Rex00v?
You should message James and
I'm not sure if
say
you can.
usual cheater.
I told James, but I'm not sure he reads my message. I'll look for Rex.
Yeah. Okay. DM him.
It does say Gondor region, right? Okay,
Yeah,
Rex got my message. Yeah, it's a little confusing that Osgiliath is not part of Gondor, but that's what it is. Yeah, made that move into Osgiliath at the very start even more interesting, knowing that he had House of the Stewards.
Mm-hmm.
You could have played that first and then move out. Yeah, that's a mess now for James. I feel like you really wanted to see 2 more strategy cards because it might be Power of Bombadil or Power to Grade, which could really help this turn. And also some mustering cards that can stall. I think, yeah, now is probably the time as James where you wish you could undo 1 more action and go back to the very start of the round.
I don't know about that.
I think you really wanted that extra lead and the 2 cards. Like the 2
Yes,
strategy
but he
cards might be the
really,
even bigger deal than the 1 elite here because
I
anything
think
can
he also
really
really
reach you.
wanted to get Aragorn to Osgiliath first round 1 because he would have to. He played the Will of the West, right?
Yeah,
So
he played the Will of the West. Well, okay, he did play the Will of the West because of Day Without Dawn. I think that's
mhm.
the only reason why he did that move
Yes,
at the
yes.
very start. Yeah, well,
So
that's true. If you're just scared about Day Without Dawn, then it makes sense to rush that move.
it's not only that; it's the bait that I explained. That like imagine Rex getting carried away, and he attacks Minas Tirith, and then Aragorn just attacks it back, and that's like a crippling blow.
Yeah. That makes James' position so much more difficult now. With an extra
Yeah.
lead there and more cards, then I can see why he feels like Osgiliath can adequately defend Tirith. He's now,
Mm.
well, we know Rex doesn't have Black Captain or Ring Race, but if he had, then I would worry about that fight. And I think, yeah, I still think that Rage of the Dunlendings would be an excellent play here. Put the pressure on, set up, shadows moving.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree.
Especially now that you have the Palantir, so you draw 2 more
And
cards.
it's so sad that he's not going to draw these 2 juicy cards, which could be like Tom Bombadil, or
Yeah, I mean, Tom
they could be
Bombadil, I
so
feel
good.
like, would be pretty big now.
He still has the ways to remove it, but
Yeah, but now
yeah,
it's
it's
gonna
like
cost,
removing
like,
one.
the 1 spare die that you had, you used to play Palantir, so any die you lose now is gonna really hurt you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, of course.
Is play Rage, play Shadows Moving, then you're left with 5 attacks, which is still enough if you win the fights, even through Power of Tom Bombadil, but you're not winning all the fights, right? If you go for Edoras, Pelagia, and the Shire still, then you will have to retake Pelagia. You just strategy, right? Not oh well, actually, you might want to draw a character here. Give you chances to get Black Captain or Ring Race.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Maybe that's a very good point playing that Palantir. Let's see if he does that.
Yeah, because I don't think there's a strategy card you really need. Well, actually, yeah, you might want to draw a strategy card for uh or of Tom Bombadil or Party Grade.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is so exciting.
And I think the play here is to as next action to Shadow is moving, but only move some regulars from Burden Forest to Fold, so that James has to react by spending a character die to reinforce Edoras, and then you attack Minas Tirith, forcing him to attack Minas Tirith. And then if he doesn't have help unlooked for, then he would have used 2 character dice just to stay alive and not And then he couldn't move the Fellowship this turn because he's down to only a single character unless he also spends a ring. Yeah, I think that's the play here. You just let the Catalan army sit in South Eridlune and not attack the Shire until your very last action, I think.
Yeah, so far
You
we
don't
did
put
not
them
guess.
north to war.
So far we did not guess correctly. So let's really say I'm very exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. And I'm not even sure if my ideas are the right ones. It's just what I'm thinking. Like, I think both Rex and James have done an excellent job so far. All their moves. Even if maybe I would have played it differently. It doesn't mean that I'm correct. Doesn't mean they are correct either. It makes
Yes,
for
of
an
course,
interesting game. But I think like the problem with James' line of play is that he's not making much progress anywhere. Not with the ring and not with the military. But I think this turn it was very hard to make much progress because your flanks were so open. There's not really much you can do about it.
Like he can just move towards Shire and towards
And fold. Jaya and fold. With a Palantir and then force James to react to it.
yeah, I think that would be the plan.
And I mean the only real reaction you have is either you ignore Edoras and let him have it, or you move Western to Edoras, which opens up, yeah, depending on how many units Shadow brings to fold, it might open up Helm's Deep. But if you bring too many, then Minas Tirith is not going to be an issue anymore. That's also a little dangerous. Like, I think if you move a lot of units from Druiden to fold, then you give up on Edoras. But you can fight over Pelagia.
The thing is, okay, he will get Edoras and Shire. Who cares? How he gets Pelargir? That's the.
Yeah, then he wouldn't get Pelagia, right? Yeah, that's what I mean. If he takes too big an army, I mean he can still take it by means of South.
So what he can do, I think,
Aphelion.
is he can move like towards Shire and to it's a little bit blurry, so it's west something. The region that is right below Shire. Sorry, not
South
Shire. Pelargir.
Eridlune. South Eridlune is the region
No,
right
no, no,
below
no,
Shire.
no. Below Pelargir, I mean.
Below
So the
Pelagia,
west.
west of Rondo.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
He
I
has-
mean. You can move the army, at least
Yes,
7
and
regulars
not
to west of Rondo. That's what I was
yes,
thinking as well. And also maybe join up from
and
near Harak.
not move the army from Druiden Forest. So then,
Oh, for sure you move at least one regular. At least one regular needs to go to fold,
but
in my
you
opinion.
have only 3. You have only that is like 3 movements.
You have 4 movements though with shadows moving.
But if you play that, then you're not getting rid of Tom Bombadil.
You draw another strategy card. You can cycle with the Witch King. And the chances of him having T-Bomb is not that high.
Well, he can take back Dol Guldur this turn. Sorry, I mean to Dolamroth. He can take Dolamroth this turn, James. He has the dice. So if he attacks with Witch King,
yeah, he can take back the Dol Amroth, but I mean we're talking about really long odds then. So first things first, he would need to attack Pelagia through fortification bonus. Then if the fight looks to be heading towards the free people, then Witch King can retreat, you chase after him, then yes, you might win Dol Amroth, but it costs you a ring, costs you basically your entire Osgiliath army, and at least Minas Tirith wide open. So you trade Dol Amroth for Minas Tirith and the ring, and you make no progress with the Fellowship whatsoever, and take an extra point of corruption as well. I don't think that's the line of play you're looking for as free people.
So Strider mentioned that he would attack Pelargir right now. So this means with Witch King. Well, I'm not sure about that because if he attacks with Strider back, with
yeah, I don't see the advantage as Shadow to attack Pelagia right now. Because Because then 3 people can threaten a counterattack, take it back with just the 1 regular, and you bleeding dice. But then again, I guess you bleed the 3 people dice as well, so
Yeah.
it does
So Strider is
kind of
saying
make
that
sense.
can you attack Minas Tirith if Aragorn's attack?
Yeah, but I don't think as 3 people, if you... So one, I don't think you immediately attack Pelagia as 3 people, and B, if you attack it, you only move 1 regular in. I don't think you move the entire army in. Because otherwise, yes, you would lose Minas Tirith.
Yeah, but you take Dolan Roth, so you're in the same position almost, and next turn Shadow wins. So you're kind of right, yes. Okay, he's
Yeah,
playing with
whittling down that army
Almastirian.
is okay, I guess. But yeah, I'd rather move first and just keep the pressure on. You can just move 1 regular from Druiden to Fold. That creates enough pressure, I think. Was a reaction. Haha. Yes, Strider, my strategy is to attack the giant armies if I'm Shadow. But that's more like to prevent a 3 people military victory. Like, usually you don't want to trade dice with the 3 people. He does go for Pelagia Fist. Okay, I mean, it does make some sense, yeah. I don't know if you play Great Host here. I think Onslaught might be the way.
Well, he needs to play something for sure because he really needs to draw another card, I guess.
You really want to draw another army card, yeah.
And you're not playing the Fellowship.
Interesting he didn't use the character die to attack, but an army die. I think I would have gone with the character. Wow, no hits.
Yeah.
Oh, he only had 4 units. Right. That's a small army. James Ramirez.
Yeah, that's one of the bingo squares, yes.
Well, that was the worst outcome, though. So you do win Pelagia, but you actually strengthen the army in Osgiliath. While weakening yours. There's no way you can...
Okay, now James cannot pass.
Yeah, well, he hides the Fellowship, which is kind of like passing.
Yeah, this makes sure that he's not...
So, yeah, now definitely you play Shadows Moving, right? Just send 1 regular from Druiden to Fold. And then James will have to answer an attack onto Minas Tirith. And also needs to reclaim Pelagia, so he can't move the Fellowship unless he spends a ring. Oh, he moves the entire army. So Minas Tirith is safe then.
Is it?
Well, yeah, you don't really have anything.
You can...
Well, okay, it's not exactly safe, I guess. Witch King and some regulars can attack Lasanage.
So he can just use now an army to get back to Duran Forest and send 1 regular to...
He's thinking about it. Yeah, yeah, this makes sense.
Play. No, that was the correct play was...
I think this is better.
No, because he will need to move... I think he would need to move anyway with an army next turn to Edoras. Because James is not going to move the army to Edoras. Unless it's a... I mean, if he added all the army to the Rohan region, then James would never bother getting his army back to Edoras.
Yeah, so but then he doesn't have to worry about Minas Tirith anymore, which I think is pretty big here, because now if you attack Minas Tirith...
He would not worry about Minas Tirith, because he would use just an army die to move 1 regular to Edoras and the entire army back to Drudan.
Yeah, Kieran's ships are still in Soniel, but you don't have a playable region. Well, you can play it in Grey Havens, but it's not helping you. And sorry, Andre, what's the point? So if you move the entire army as Shadow to fold,
Yes, to fold, yes. James
then
will not bother getting to Edoras, right?
but you want him to move Edoras like Western
No, you
to
don't want
Edoras.
him. No, you don't want him. You want him not to move. So you use your next army, move one regular to Edoras, and the entire army back to Druton Forest.
I think I would be okay with 3 people using a character die to move to Edoras, and then I attack Minas Tirith, and then 3 people also needs to attack Minas Tirith, and then you can send the remaining army from Druiden Forest into Gold and the West Rondo army into Pelagia, and then you attack Shire and Edoras with your remaining 2 dice. And
That's
Fellowship
also
has
possible.
nothing left to move the Fellowship, so they need to use a ring to even attack Pelagia from that point on, and then they can't move the Fellowship at all. So I don't know. I like this play. I
He
think
can
this is the
also
correct
now
play.
attack. What if he attacks now with Aragorn, Druiden Forest?
Then Druiden Forest just retreats to Edoras, to Fold. Mission accomplished. You wasted one of 3 people's dice, and they got nothing for it.
He has to think.
I think the question here is, do you even bother moving Westernet to Edoras?
It's very tough for James. Yes, yes. Maybe there is a play that is the best.
Yeah, maybe the play here is to just attack Pelagia right now, while you still have a very weak army in Pelagia that you can defeat. But I'm not sure if it's that good, because then the remaining survivors can merge up with the West Rondor army.
Since he's thinking so much, I will use the time to get another question. So, what is the maximum leadership that a 3 people army can obtain? That's one question. Second question is the same question for Shadow, and 2 more questions. The same question for Lords of Middle Earth. Okay, and if your imagination, then you can get an extra answer based on some circumstances. So I'll repeat again. What is the maximum leadership that you can get with 3 people army? That's one question. With Shadow army, that's the second question. And the same 2 questions for LOM, Lords of Middle-earth.
Oh, James is using a ring here to do a double army move. Or is he? Yeah, and Strider is asking, what about a Grey Havens attack? So I think Grey Havens attack is something you can consider here, but it's very risky.
There are at least 2 cards that make it impossible for him to take Grey Havens.
Yeah, one is Power to Grade, the other is Kid and Chips. And even
And
if he has neither of that, then he can still use a ring to muster an extra lead.
Even Help and Look For can do some damage because
the dwarves are
pesky
more,
little
but
dwarf,
yeah, it's just that one dwarf though. It's just a 1 regular. I don't think that's enough to stop it.
It can do 1 hit, so why not?
Yeah, 1 hit might be all you need, because you can only press once, need 3 hits. But with 2 Great Hosts in hand, that's pretty likely. Yeah, he has 1 strategy card only, but if that's Kid and Ship, then and even Power to Grade, you don't have enough dice, unless you want to attack it without any leadership. Oh, and you also don't have an army card anymore. A very tough situation for the 3 people. I don't know. I don't think this is the time he's a ring. 3 people. But yeah, maybe you do have to do something. But
Yeah,
I think
so
now you
much.
attack Pelagi. I think you kind of have to attack Pelagi now.
James really,
Actually,
really wants to win, right? Because something that people might not know is that James is from Brazil, so he cannot actually get the game, the physical copy, which is very unfortunate because of the taxes that we will pay. It will have to be shipped, and Brazil has very high tolls. So winning this tournament would he will get a copy,
oh,
at least Battle of the Five Islands, being sent to him.
I didn't know
So
that.
same goes for the Lords of Middle Earth tournament.
Wow, that
And
makes me root for James a little more.
yeah, and James, because he knows that the tolls are very expensive. That's why, for example, like the majority of Kickstarters, they don't ship to Brazil. Anyway, he said that he would pay for the customs for the toll
Okay.
if he wants, at least also for his.
Well, he needs to get there first because it's not looking like he's gonna win this one. He does use the ring here. Yeah, maybe that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
We will see. We will see. It's a very like this game to analyze it. It's like the dream of the. Maybe Ira or Rom still can get their hands on this game because we know that do that.
Yeah, it's a
So
great game for sure. Very tense. But
yeah,
I feel like Shadow's Edge has been growing with each turn. I think 3 people is an almost impossible situation here now. The one thing I will say is, if he actually does have through a day and a night, he can win this turn. Through a day and a night, the Gorgoroth, there's no more army in South Philian.
yeah, that's assuming that Shadow will not reach 10 points.
Yes. Well, Shadow only has 3 attacks though.
4.
4, yeah, and they need, well, they need 2, right? They only need. But now that full army might not be big enough to get the job done. Yeah, and you kinda have to attack Minister Earth and also Pelagia probably. So Shadow I would besiege Minister Earth now. With a character. Then I expect 3 people to lift the siege. Then with an army die you can move Prudent to fold. With the remaining 2 dice you can attack.
If Shadow attacks Minas Tirith, then you attack to stop that.
Yeah.
And with your last, you don't move anyone to Minas Tirith, and then you just hope to get back Pelargir.
Which will be tough because the moment you lift the siege, Shadow will use army dice to move Britain to fold and Westeronda to Pelagia, I would say. And then your last action as 3 people has to be Osgiliath to Pelagia, and you would need to win against the Witch King and 10 regulars.
Yeah, well, probably James thought of that. I mean, he was thinking for a very long time, right? So
yeah, it's a tough turn. I mean, if I was 3 people here, I would take a long time to think my turns through as well. Because any misstep now and it's just game. And you still have a shot, right? If one of those battles really goes your way, then you can win. As dire as it looks, but it's possible.
Yes.
Shadow gets a really bad action roll, and you manage to take back the Lamroth, kill the Witch King.
Well, how bad overall can Shadow get next turn? It's also like a question that you need to ask.
If you roll only eyes and Palantirs and one character or something. And I mean, I've seen that happen. It's possible. Oh, he's not even... Oh, okay, so he goes for the Grey Havens line of play.
Strider had all figured it out, it seems.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. You just lose to some cards, like Power to Grade and Kid and Ships. And you risk not having enough punch to win the siege.
Yeah.
But now that James has spent the ring,
so
he can't muster up anymore. So it's reasonable.
It seems so risky.
Well, you do have two great hosts.
Shadow.
You do have two great hosts, so you feel a little less risky about it.
Yeah, that's also true.
Okay, an eye for one and reveal. That's okay, I guess. But the reveal hurts a lot.
That's the worst possible tie. This and zero reveal.
Yeah, zero reveal would be worse, I would say. Well, it's okay corruption-wise, at least.
He does not care about corruption, I think. I mean, he is moving and...
I would care about corruption.
I would care surviving.
But yeah, I mean, sure, military is what I'm more concerned about. So now I'm curious, what does James have?
Okay, here is the help and look for with the dwarf from Iron Hills. Or Cedar Ships, or Power to
Yeah,
Grade.
Hidden Ships, but he would have had to top deck it. He went to zero strategy cards at the end of last turn. Maybe you just draw another strategy card, hope for confusion, and that's it.
That's also an option, yes. If he does not have those, then he needs to draw a card now, yes. That's true.
I don't think he has it, otherwise he would slam Hidden Ships down right now.
Yeah. So he either has help and look for, or he has...
No.
Nothing.
I don't think he has anything. That's why he wanted to play House of the Stewards to draw two new cards. But still, I mean, the confusion would also be great for James, maybe.
Yeah, if he did that though, if he played the House of Steward, then he would not have the Palantir to play a card. So he would have to use a ring.
Yeah, maybe he wouldn't have had to use the ring then. The game would have been somewhat different. Well, yes, he can take Pelgier back, but he also needs to worry about Adderus.
Yeah, he's just... So Rex, basically what he did, he just set up for the next turn.
No. Rex is looking to win this turn. He still has two attacks. One for Grey Havens, and with an elite and two great hosts, that will probably be enough. I mean, not yes. Definitely,
and
but
then he has to attack Adderus, right?
And then Adderus, yeah.
So
unless three people doesn't even try and take back Pelgier, in which case you can just do nothing and just win the game.
Yeah, of course, everything is...
Yeah, the problem is if he attacks Grey Haven, scores no hits, and James gets 2 hits back, then when he presses, he'll be down to only 3 hit points.
Can Gandalf reach there, by the way? 1, 2,
no, not with...
No, he can't.
He's 1 short.
He's 1 short.
Rex wrote something. Oh!
Maybe he wrote that for us. So
yeah, I didn't look at it.
Yeah, me too.
I thought he was typing it to James.
No, did anybody? If somebody saw what he was writing, then. But I think I saw something with the Great Host. So.
Yeah, he wrote something about the Great Host and that he was figuring out how much he would need. I think to. He believes he messed up. I don't know. I think he has decent odds.
Okay, here is the confusion, as you said.
Yeah, I feel like if I had one more hit point in Grey Havens, I would feel a lot better.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
see.
that's the thing. If he takes 2 hits from James here, then he might be in trouble. But if he rolls a single 6, then it's fine. Yeah, and Confusion, that's the
Confusion, as you
card you're
said.
most afraid of as Shadow, I think.
Okay, here it goes.
Ah, lucky. No one, and you got a 6, so you're fine. Now James definitely needs 2 hits, or he's done.
No.
James confused himself, oh no. Okay, that's GG. Yeah, that's GG.
Yeah.
Still, I
most
think that
likely.
was a risky fight. I think, I don't know, is it a 50-50? Maybe it's a 60-40
No,
for
no,
the Shadow.
that it's over. Now it's over because
Now
he
it's
has
over. Yeah,
another
yeah.
day
No,
to
I mean
go.
before the first rolls were made. Confusion against Great Host, I think that's scary.
Well, he had decent. So
Yeah,
to
even if
get
Pelagear
one
holds, then yeah, you need both Pelagear and Edoras as free people now, and that's just out of the question. And even then, you still lose next turn. Now that Grey Havens is gone. Yeah, it's done. Now it's definitely done. Yeah, but I mean, how big is that Fold army? That's massive. That's 5 regulars and 3 elites. There's no way Rohan holds that.
Yeah, but yeah, it's most likely it's a GG. But let's see, let's see. We have seen things.
Yeah, even then, what's the plan going forward?
Then
I mean, how do you win next turn?
you dunk the ring.
Yeah, it's, I mean, technically possible. Yeah, I know you called it Strider, and I did say that Grey Havens is an option, just that it's risky because there's 2 cards that stop it completely, and even if you do battle, there's a decent chance that you lose it, and then you also lose the Shire.
Okay, so some people are already leaving the stream. I would encourage you to stay because I'm sure James and Rex will come and have a conversation about what's happening in the game and what card James had at specific moments. So they are the ones.
Yeah, that's the ones.
He needed this roll one combat before.
Yeah, then you would have won, maybe even the game, because with an attack on Grey Havens, you also lose the Shire if it goes south. So that's why I felt it was risky. You give up the 4 cities if Grey Havens doesn't work out, and then you might just lose the game. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, and with Dread and Despair, it seems very hard to take it. Oh. But it doesn't matter, you can just retreat and take Edoras. No reason to...
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's not staying. Yes, he's not staying.
No, I wouldn't stay here. Otherwise, you might lose the Witch King, and then if you do end up somehow surviving in Rohan, which I don't see how you would do that. 5 hit points against 11.
So he did a misplay. Rex is a terrible player. He did not draw for his Witch King.
Ah, yeah, I'm sure that matters
Yes.
now.
Everybody witnessed that he was very lucky, and that's how he wins games. It's confirmed right now.
I still think that if James had just committed to a sprint, that he might have been fast enough. I don't think Aragorn really did too much this game.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the game is over.
Yeah. If like Wooden Realm did not fall like that, then
Yeah, that was very
James could have
unlucky.
a game in his pocket.
That was so unlucky that Woodland Realm just rolled over like that. I mean, none of the combats went well for the free people, I would say. Nothing. Rex was on fire. Yeah, Erebor was pretty bad as well. I mean, look at Erebor. There's still 8 regulars left. 4 hits on the very first round.
Yeah, I think
5 actually, because of the movable kill trigger.
Though he would get it eventually. That's what I think.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've seen battles in Erebor go very bad for the Shadow. Like, so often did I see...
He had so many cards back then, and he had the means to cycle them. So.
Yeah, but it's all about the first round of combat, right? You fight 11 hit points against 8. No, against 6. And then if the first round of combat doesn't go your way, then you lose potentially 4 or 5 hit points, get maybe no hits, and then you have just as much HP as the defending army. So you need reinforcements, and that takes so much time. You muster up 3 more elites, then you have to send them over, and because you used Shadow's Gather, you need 3 dice to move them from North Rune into Erebor. So we're talking about 6 actions that it takes. That's an entire turn gone.
Yeah, of course. It depends how many hits 3 people do. If they don't do that much, which
yeah, if they don't do that much and you score a decent amount of hits, then you know.
Yeah, can you ask? We will ask them Strider once they join the stream because they will.
Yeah, Rex is already listening, but Rex, you only enabled us to watch your in-game screen, so all the statistic pages don't pop up for us. You need to switch.
But they can tell them for us.
Ah, nice. Wow, that looks a lot worse than it felt like.
Yeah. He just rolled the 6s where it matters.
James a little low on hits, but... Yeah, and James definitely rolled a lot of wills. Low musters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the sprint could have worked.
Well, he did not know that, right? He did not know how the game will turn out. He could not predict 2.
Yeah, but it was I think it was a turn 4 Aragon, right? And turn 4 is kind of late when the Shadow is progressing pretty rapidly with the military. And then Strider couldn't really do that much because Dol Amroth was basically gone at that point, and the whole queue line was gone, so you were fighting against a 7 victory point Shadow. That's just very hard to defend.
Maybe he should just bring only Boromir. Who knows?
I think you should have just rushed it. Make more on turn 4.
He got very unlucky. I mean, he was in the
yeah, definitely very unlucky.
With the knights, with the
all the strongholds just collapsed.
But sometimes, yeah.
I mean, Dol Amroth probably did the best job of all the strongholds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, we should not take anything away from Rex. It was a joke that about the previous statement that I did. Of course, he's a great player. That's how he got to World Championship finals, of course.
Yeah. I think both of them played very well.
Yes.
Very good game.
And very entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, it's much better that James chose to crown Aragon, right?
Makes it more interesting. More decisions to make. But I think like it feels to me like it made it less likely for him to actually win the game. Because then he was too slow to raise the Shadow, so he needs Aragorn to do military stuff. But Shadow being on 7 victory points is very hard for Aragorn to do much because he can't really leave Minas Tirith exposed, or Shadow just takes Minas Tirith.
So Rex, can you invite James over? And you should also jump in. I mean, I think this is pretty much over.
Yeah, so I'll end the stream for YouTube. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a nice day and see you soon. Goodbye.